Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight in Our News, the Attorney General hits back at Rights Bahamas after a recent court filing. Plus, the Prime Minister offering a grim prognosis on BPL.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, Attorney General Carl Bethel slamming Rights Bahamas over its latest legal filing seeking an injunction to block further evictions and demolitions of shantytowns on Abaco and other islands. The AG asserted iron will meet iron in the battle between the government and Rights Bahamas. Jasmine Brown reports.
The AG was quick to fire back at Rights Bahamas and their latest legal move as he expressed confidence in the Minister administration's position.
Iron will meet iron.
And the AG did not stop there. He asserted the Minister administration will not back down as the legal battle rages on.
We will vigorously oppose their application.
Bethel was responding to an affidavit filed on November 25, 2019. In it, President of Rights Bahamas and Respect Our Homes Limited, Stephanie St. Fleur, accused the government of fostering anti-Haitian sentiment. She wrote, "The plan to eradicate rural organic communities is a continuation of a decades-long campaign to cleanse the Bahamas of the influence of Haitian ethnicity on the part of successive governments, and that it aims for the same outcome." Attorneys representing 177 shantytown residents and Respect Our Homes Limited are listed as the applicants in the matter. The AG responded by insisting government will not stand by and allow unsafe, unacceptable, and dangerous living conditions to be a way of life in the Bahamas.
I'm sorry, she can dock up and pretty up a shantytown all she wants, but most persons have left the poverty and degradation of shantytowns in their native Haiti. Why would we want to have them created here? We want people to live at a standard of living that all Bahamians live in. We want to glorify the ethnicity and diversity of our country, but in ways that dignify the residents of this country.
In August 2018, Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson granted an injunction blocking the demolition of shantytown structures. Shantytowns on Abaco, mainly the mud, pigeon peas, and sandbanks, were largely destroyed during the passage of Dorian. The Minister administration also moved to demolish the few remaining homes in those communities. As for the ongoing legal issues with Rights Bahamas, the AG says he is confident that the government will be victorious in court.
We will fight the good fight with all our might, and God willing, we will prevail.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Haitian national Sydney Similian was arraigned in the magistrate's court today with one count of possession of a forged document, one count of uttering a forged document, and one count of attempted fraud by false pretenses. Similian allegedly had in his possession a forged NIB card and attempted to obtain a birth certificate from the Registrar General's office in the name of Teria Similian. He pled not guilty to all charges and told the court he applied for citizenship as he was born in the Bahamas. However, the prosecution stated it had no record of that. Similian said he would rather be sent to Haiti than remanded. Magistrate Andrew Forbes remanded him to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services until January 2020. Following an island-wide blackout on Friday that was broadcast live for the world to see on ESPN, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis asserted on Sunday that Bahamas Power and Light has been embarrassing the Bahamas for decades. Vonnie Toot reports.
But what we do know is that one day BPL is going to crash, which means your power is going to be zero.
This gloomy prediction from the Prime Minister after the entire island of New Providence was plunged into darkness for hours Friday night. Bahamas Power and Light says it experienced a transmission failure. It couldn't happen at a worse time for Atlantis Paradise Island, which was hosting its annual Battle for Atlantis basketball tournaments when the lights went out.
Halliburton. Oh, Samuel thought about drawing the charge and the lights went out. That went in. That went in before the lights went out. I think it will count. So the power has gone out at the resort a couple of times. Everybody's going to get their flashlight out now.
Atlanta's officials say the blackout received international coverage on ESPN, was extremely disruptive to its business, and comes at considerable cost to the resort.
BPL has been embarrassing us for over 30 years. We cannot continue to kick the can down the road. For decades, BPL has been plagued by mismanagement.
This latest outage comes on the heels of perhaps the worst summer on record for BPL. Its customers say, to add insult to injury, BPL plans to increase their light bills by $20 to $30 a month for about 10 months next year. Works Minister Desmond Bannister has refused to reveal what BPL's base rate increase will be. Minutes addressed concerns about costs.
One can decide whether you want to correct the issue. We can avoid that and kick the can down the road. We can avoid all cost, hold it, and we can drop your electricity bill dramatically overnight if we chose to do that. If your bill is $300 per month, with an immediate decision, we can drop your bill by $45.
Minna says to bring down power bill costs in New Providence would result in increases for Family Island consumers.
If I stop that subsidy, I bring your cost down by $45 for every $300. But those islands that I speak about, their cost will go up from $300 to $450 overnight. Those islands, if they're paying $700, their cost will move from $700 to $1,050 overnight. Is that fair?
The outage came one day after the Electricity Rate Reduction Bond Bill 2019 was passed in the House of Assembly. The bill paves the way for BPL to raise $650 million through a rate reduction bond. Reporting for Our News, I'm Vonnie Tu.
On the heels of the Shane Gibson trial, a noted defense attorney says she is appalled by revelations that the lead investigator in the case brought together the prosecution's witnesses and their attorneys to iron out ambiguities in their statements. During the trial, which ended in a not guilty verdict, ASP Deborah Thompson also admitted to altering key witness Jonathan Ash's statement. Attorney Christina Galano says Bahamians should find this alarming regardless of their political persuasion.
Our objective as defense counsel is to determine whether or not the prosecution has a sound case. The way we test that evidence is through cross-examination. To determine inconsistencies, ambiguities, and where you have witnesses colluding, that's a major concern for the defense, because what happens is the police, in the Shane Gibson trial in particular, have taken it upon themselves to iron out these inconsistencies. You're taking something away from the defense when you do that. We can't properly test the case. We don't know about these secret meetings, and it's unfortunate, it's appalling, and it ought not to happen.
Galano says she is happy that the Shane Gibson trial brought to light an issue that defense attorneys deal with on a weekly basis. However, she says many Bahamians aren't concerned about injustices experienced by a defendant until it happens to their loved one.
It's disconcerting and alarming because before those documents get to us, they're in the police custody. They're in the custody of the Office of the Attorney General. What is going on to synchronize statements? It's ridiculous. And it's really a situation where you have to wonder, of all of the convictions, which of the cases were synchronized? Which of the errors or which of the inconsistencies were ironed out? Those could have been the inconsistencies that would have convinced the jury that the man was not guilty.
Former Assistant Commissioner of Police Paul Thompson told the Nassau Guardian that ASP Deborah Thompson was not acting inappropriately when she met with Deborah Bastian and Jonathan Ash to clear up ambiguities in their statements. Galano's called Thompson's comments unfortunate and urged officials to address this serious issue.
It's dangerous, and I would implore the former Assistant Commissioner of Police to take a wider view and to consider how the defendant may be impacted. The information ought to be brought out and left before the jury. The man is on trial. Oftentimes they're facing 40 years, 50 years, 60 years imprisonment. You have to be fair, and you have to allow the jury to hear the evidence as it came from the witness. You ought not to iron out statements. That's dangerous. And he should know better.
Attorney Lisa Bostwick Dean was handed her instruments and letter of appointment during a brief ceremony at Government House this morning as she becomes the newest member of the Senate. Dean, who is the daughter of former Senate President Henry Bostwick, said while public life is never easy, she's ready to take it on.
It's not an easy road, public life. It's a life that opens you to a lot of criticism and, quite frankly, attack by members of the public. However, I do believe that my country does require persons that I view myself as one of integrity, to stand up and to fight for what is right in the country and to try and bring about various changes.
Dean replaces Senate President Catherine Forbes Smith, who resigned to head up the new Reconstruction Authority. Prime Minister Minnis said she's an ideal replacement.
She will chart her own path, and her voice and her passions will continue to grow and develop on the national stage, including advocacy for the rights of juveniles. As a mother and citizen, I know that she will also work tirelessly to ensure that we continue to provide greater economic and social opportunities for our people.
Still to come, NIB workers protest yet again. Plus, the AG questions Dorian's death toll. Stay tuned.